going to be the guy that they pass by the bikes. Yeah. So the bike burglary, because he already admitted to doing 13. So it's probably more, but 13 that they did. So that's pretty much a lot of what's on here. But even so, 45 is pretty good for a summer month. Because I remember last year, this summer's been pretty quiet for my car. Last year we were doing 50s, I think maybe even 60s. So the captain has this new thing where we FI, it's called get a field interview card on anybody that looks suspicious. And what he's asking us to do is that we'll make contact with a potential suspect if we think so. And what we'll do is we have a thing called a consensual encounter, which by law we can do without having reasonable suspicion, as long as we go up and talk to them just like I come up and talk to you. And of course, the consensual encounter stops when either we detain him or that person doesn't feel free to leave at any time. So if I initiate a consensual encounter by law with somebody out on the street, he can leave at any time. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll get a field interview card, we'll fill out, get his info or her info, and then we turn it back in, and that's turned into a Intel database. And so what will happen is a lot of times on the card also it says who was the person with, and even though we won't interview that person, but it'll say who he's with, and it's another additional name in the Intel database, and we are catching a lot of people in certain areas that we're seeing some crime spikes just based on the field interview cards. So I think we think that strategy is really working well for us, and it's what's keeping our crime stats low too. Also, something else came from the. Did you read the thing about soliciting?
No, not yet.
There's the city attorney has sent down. I just read it briefly. I've been on vacation all month. I just got back yesterday, but I was reading through my emails. The city attorney has adopted some solicitation law, which is all towards fighting the the illegal solicitors that we have. And I think some of the hours are like 8 p.m. or something like that. But there's like $1,000 fine. It's a misdemeanor arrest. $1,000 fine. Juveniles that are out soliciting have to have some type of ID. So it's really good. So especially for like neighborhoods like out here, West Hills, Woodland Hills, where we catch a lot of these guys.
Would that include curb painters who are soliciting painters?
Yeah.
Here, I'll read it to you right now. Because before we didn't have any, you guys recall we didn't really have any like teeth behind our stop. We couldn't really do much to them. You cannot solicit between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. Anybody over the age of 16 has to have a photo ID, which would be a government-issued photo ID, which a lot of them don't because they don't want us to know who they really are. They also have to have a Los Angeles, they have to have a business tax registration certificate. Basically, they have to go to LA City Hall and file and have this business tax registration card, and they have to carry that with them. Some of them can have their manager or handler can have that license, and then they can be with these individuals. But what we find is they'll drop them off in the neighborhood, and they'll go to a completely different neighborhood and drop off another crew, and they won't be anywhere near them. And then
Is this ordinance in effect now, or?
it is in effect. We're enforcing it now.
What's the ordinance number, Dennis? Please.
41.43.1. 41.43.1 LAMC.
Thank you.
So now it's, if you call when we stop them, it's more than just getting their name and seeing what they're up to. Now we can actually, give them a ticket. Or if they don't have ID, you can arrest them. So that is actually a good thing we have. Next thing we're working on, we're not getting a lot of help, is trying to get a, like Simi Valley, where you have to get a permit to park a motorhome on city streets. There's a lot of locations where you see just stacks and stacks of motorhomes, and it's hard for us to do anything about it because they move those vehicles every 72 hours like they need to. So CME has a thing in place. I think they can get a permit, and it's good for a certain number of days, and they can extend that thing up to 6 times a year. It's free, but at the end of that sixth period, they have to move on. Otherwise, I mean, they're storing the vehicle or living on it in it. So we'll see what happens. Mitch Englander, we're trying to get his help in getting that done. We get a lot. I mean, you'd be amazed how many calls we get about the motorhomes. I probably get 6 a day.
Yeah, that's right, because they just come to the neighborhood and just call,
Yeah.
and then leave, and so they line up your neighborhood.
Has there been any indication on whether the governor's going to sign the amended trailer advertising bill that they just passed to tighten up the loopholes?
I don't know. We haven't heard.
These, in case you're not aware of it, the state legislature passed a bill that closes a lot of loopholes in the trailer advertising business. One of the things they're doing now is they are hitching those trailers to little tiny motor scooters. And that's considered a vehicle because it's got a license or whatever, but it's not included in the original law that was passed. Those loopholes like that, including there's another piece of that in addition to eliminating that loophole. But the deal of having to move the vehicle every 72 hours, it's parked on the street, if the governor signs it, now the cities would be able to specifically state how far the vehicle must be moved in order to be legal on the street. Because right now, all I have to do is move it 6 inches, and that's all it takes. But the cities will be able to establish a distance. They can say it's got to be 10 feet or 100 feet or whatever. So they can't get away with just moving it 6 inches anymore. It's on the governor's desk, and the last I heard was there was no comment on whether or not he was going to sign it. But it would be a good idea to send the governor an email saying that you really want the amended loophole fix for advertising sign.
I got another incident to talk about real quick. Do you guys think the Nixle, there was a home invasion robbery on Rodax north of Roscoe? That, just so you guys know, that was the victim was targeted because of their business. They were followed, believed the victim had money because of money drop off from their legitimate business. And they were followed to their home when the robbery took place. So they're working on that. They have really good video. And but that's it. In case you guys heard there was a home invasion robbery, that wasn't a case of just targeting random neighbors. That was a business owner followed home. That's really common in the jewelry district. We'll have a lot of jewelers who be followed home and robbed at their houses. So